So the movie opens with our main protagonist, Nicky, played by Will Smackham Smith, standing on his balcony looking over the city of New York while eating gummy bears. Out of all the foods they could have had this nigga eat, they got him eating the zestiest candy besides a literal bag of dicks. Anyway, he makes a reservation at this hotel restaurant place where he later encounters the main victim of this movie, Jess, played by Margot Robbie. She asks Nicky to play her boyfriend to get away from this guy who clearly wants to smell her shoulder, among other things. But I go straight back to Mr. Smellums. If a nigga said this to me with a straight face.
You're not a serial killer, are you?
It depends. How many times does it take to get to cereal?
Is this nigga serious?
So they start chatting and end up going back to Jess's hotel room with the intent to commit ungodly actions with each other, when all of a sudden a man busts in the room who just claims to be her husband and puts a gun to Nicky's head, threatening to bust his cantaloupe. But Nicky agrees he deserves to be shot because he was going to do
R. Kelly drop cloth shit. Please, come on.
If y'all don't know what a drop cloth is, it's like a big ass like mat type, it's a cloth you put on the floor to protect it from many fluids, including bodily fluids. And this all just further proves my point on why Jess fucked up trusting this nigga. Turns out Jess and the guy were trying to rob Nicky, but he saw straight through it because he is a con man himself. He even let her know that he saw her steal old shoulder sniffing guy's wallet at the bar. He leaves the hotel room while giving Jess some inspirational words of encouragement.
You suck!
As Jess walks home, or wherever pretty white women go at night, Nicky reveals that he's been following her, which is the biggest red flag that she just completely ignores. And Nicky asks to buy her a drink and she just agrees. White women, man, I don't get it. They talk some more and Nicky explains his history of conning and stealing and says that his grandfather and father were also con artists. Typical. After they got caught running a scam, his father killed his grandfather to prove that they weren't working together, and Nicky calls this strategy the Toledo panic button, which is probably the most insane way to prove that you aren't working with someone. Like, just say you don't know the nigga, bro. Or, I don't know, don't shoot them. Just ask Nicky to teach her the ropes of conning and scamming, and even offers to pay. So Nicky proceeds to steal several items off of her while explaining it's all about drawing attention to one spot and stealing from another.
I get it.
You get their focus. You take whatever you want.
That's the title of the movie. And then he walks awkwardly down this hill. Cut to Nicky pushing a Dodge Challenger in New Orleans because cool black men in South drive muscle car. No exceptions. Jess finds Nicky at a restaurant and demands to be let in on his hustle. And after some very awkward pleading and begging,
You could show me in your room.
That is so bad.
he gives her a shot. Nicky's associate Horst gives her some simple instructions.
My lapel, 2 fingers means the pratt poke, 3 fingers means the leather's an insider. If it's a Cordine or a Knox tongue, I'll scratch my nose unless I use my thumb, means that I am actually scratching my nose. Anything in the left tail or the right tail, I'll cock my head, but nowadays keister kicks are 95% of it, so you just do the touch, and I dig the poke in the nearest mailbox, okay?
I'm sorry, what?
And the team gets to work. They proceed to steal from multiple people on a crowded street in the most unrealistic way possible, and then they do the same in a hotel lobby with the help of Nicky distracting everyone by yelling obscenities in a very familiar tone.
If you think for 1 second I'm gonna let your mother talk to me like that, you are fucking crazy. I'm a grown-ass man. My wife's name out your fucking mouth!
Nicky's crew works scams all around New Orleans, from hotels to casinos to fixed card games and fake ATMs. Nicky introduces Jess to another associate of his, Farhad, and bro is interesting to say the least.
Her name is Jess, Farhad. She's our intern.
Oh. You hitting that?
I'm right here.
That's my wife, Lita.
Pretty.
That's my dick.
Cool. All right, you ready?
Yep.
His Riz needs to be studied. More scamming and more R. Kelly drop cloth shit. By the end of the week, Nikki and Jess and the crew have pulled in $1.2 million in scams, which makes me really wonder how much investing in a shiesty and a Glock with a switch could change my life. Nikki takes Jess to what clearly is supposed to be New Orleans Saints versus Philadelphia Eagles football game, but I guess the production company couldn't get the rights to use the real teams, so we just get these two fake ass CW teams instead. They get the real expensive skybox seats, like the ones that the people who don't understand football get to sit in, and they start making small bets on random things around the stadium. They bet on a guy if he can catch a hot dog or not, or how many people look at a woman's ass when she walks up the stands. Their game catches the attention of who looks to be the CEO of Samsung, and he wants in. Nikki and the rich man go back and forth placing bets until Nikki loses and decides to call it, but the CEO of Mazda is persistent and wants to keep playing, so Nikki makes another bet, which he once again loses. But surprise, surprise, Nikki is a gambling addict and double or nothings his way into being over $1 million in the hole. But he makes one last bet to win it all back. He tells the CEO of Top Ramen to pick out any player on or off the field, and if Jess can guess the correct one, he wins. The CEO of Nintendo agrees and picks a player, and even though Jess is pissed at Nikki, rightfully so because he bet and lost her money too, she agrees as well. After looking around using the binoculars, Jess finds a familiar face on the field who turns out to be the dirty dog himself, Farhad, wearing number 55, the number of the player chosen by the CEO. All along it was just another scam Nikki was running that Jess was unaware of, and the CEO of every Nike sweatshop, I'm running out of racist Asian CEO titles. The CEO was the plan from the beginning, targeting him and trying to con him the whole time. They were putting the thoughts of the number 55 in his head all day without him knowing. And honestly, worse things have happened to CEOs as of lately, so Loki got off easy. Nikki and Jess take their winnings and book it out that motherfucker. But Nikki isn't done emotionally scarring Jess just yet. He puts her in her car with $80K and says her job is done because he was just using her the whole time. And now that he's made his money, he has no more use for her. 3 years later, Nikki is in Buenos Aires working a con with a guy named Garage Opener Garriga. This nigga, the owner of the F1 team who has a secret fuel burning algorithm, which I'm assuming makes the car use less fuel and in turn allows the driver to make less pit stops and complete more consecutive laps faster than the rest of the drivers, which means keeping position.
Nigga, shut the hell up.
Nikki and Garriga are planning on selling this fuel burn algorithm to another F1 team for big bucks, but it's a fake algorithm, so the other team's not really gonna get anything. The plan is for Nikki to act drunk at a party and get in a fight with Garriga so that the owner of the other F1 team believes that Nikki would betray Garriga. By the way, they're having this very serious conversation right next to the racetrack, so they have to pause between their sentences every 2 minutes because
This needs to be discreet. It needs to be safe. No holes.
like, why did y'all choose the most distracting and disruptive place to have this conversation? This is how things get misheard and then things don't go according to plan. This is just a horrible way to do illegal things. While Nikki is acting drunk and is about to fake fight with Garriga, Jess appears in a red dress looking like the pepper on the Chili's logo. It also looks like her and Garriga are a thing. After Nikki sees his ex with another man, he decides to do the only reasonable thing and crashes out. Nikki gets drunk for real and goes a little too far with the fake fight with Garriga, causing him to get thrown out of the party. The next day, the owner of the F1 team invites him to lunch and Nikki convinces him to buy the fuel burn algorithm. He later sets up an elaborate scheme involving a lady dropping her purse and Jess using the ID in the purse to go to a specific location just to get Jess to meet him. Which makes no sense. Jess is a thief. If she sees a purse, she's not gonna try to give it back to a bitch. Either way, he did all of that for nothing because Jess shoots him down, saying that she won't fall for his tricks again. That doesn't stop Nikki from trying to get her back. He flies in the one and only Farhad to work his magic.
Oh, I think we do.
I think we don't. God, I
Listen,
missed
everybody
you.
knows you're a lesbian. It's completely fine.
Who knows I'm a
It's especially
lesbian?
fine to me.
Where are you getting this from?
Every other time you speak, I smell vagina.
That's not true.
That's not a bad thing, believe me.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, all right.
I don't know how the fuck this nigga does it. All while Nikki just watches from a distance. He even gives her a necklace she wanted back in New Orleans, but to no avail, she walks away from him. Nikki later returns to his room to find Jess sitting in front of his door. I don't know how she even found this nigga's room number. I mean, it's possible she could have asked the front desk, but they shouldn't be giving out information like that in the first place. Or she could have conned her bullshit and found the room number that way, but she still doesn't have a room key, which means that she was just sitting in the hallway in a white dress, looking like a ghost, scaring the shit out of cleaning ladies. Anyway, they do some more R. Kelly drop cloth shit, and the next morning, Garriga's bodyguard, whoever this old ass hating nigga is, like, this dude is a level 10 hater.
You still sleeping?
There's a lazy Sunday softness to your generation.
Just do what you're being paid to do, shitheel.
He looks around Nikki's hotel room while Jess tries to hide, and she ends up on a balcony of the room across from Nikki's room. And Nikki's just looking at her like, how did you do that? And honestly, I agree. Like, unless she got hops like Vince Carter or can scale a building like Ezio from Assassin's Creed, there's no way she got across. Nikki meets up with the other F1 team owner and gives him the fake algorithm, sealing the deal and getting the money back. He also calls up a bunch of other F1 teams and sells all of them the same fake algorithm, making more and more money with each handshake. Just as Nikki and Jess are leaving the airport, one of Garriga's men purposely crashes a car into theirs and takes them to Garriga while they're incapacitated. Garriga is angry at Nikki for not only selling the algorithm to everyone, but selling the real one. He didn't sell the fake one. Garriga starts torturing Jess in a pretty weird way because he wants to know how Nikki got the real algorithm, and eventually Nikki cracks and admits that he used Jess again by gaining her trust and putting a wireless keylogger in the necklace he gave her, which he then used to get that algorithm off Garriga's computer, which once again proves my point that this nigga is the most cold-blooded, toxic motherfucker on the face of the earth. But Garriga laughs and reveals that Jess isn't even dating him and has never even been in his hotel room. She was just trying to make Nikki jealous and was trying to steal Garriga's watch, which apparently is worth $200,000. Like, who buys a watch that expensive? That motherfucker better do my taxes. Like, that shit better calculate the trajectory of the moon to the sun. Nikki gets upset upon hearing this news because he feels betrayed, which is goofy as fuck considering how many times he's lied to Jess. But the old hating ass nigga wasn't trying to hear none of their arguing, so he just puts around in Nikki like a glass bottle at a shooting range. Garriga and his men split, and the hating old dude approaches Nikki and Jess like he's about to finish the job. And Jess, thinking she's about to be killed like Nikki, grabs her high heel and stabs the old bitter hating ass nigga in his leg. But turns out the old man is Nikki's dad, and he pulled the Toledo panic button strategy because he was also in on the con. So the old hating nigga tends to Nikki's bullet wound and drives him to the hospital while explaining why Nikki is too good of a person to be a con artist. He clearly doesn't know that Nikki's been manipulating and mentally abusing this white woman for almost 4 years. The old nigga takes the money and drops Nikki and Jess to the hospital, and as they're walking, Nikki notices that Jess is wearing Garriga's watch. Like, when the fuck did she even steal that thing? While he was suffocating her? Fuck it, these two were meant for each other.